Three, two, one. And we're live. Welcome back again to Portage County Free World Podcast. Doing this podcast tonight because it might be the last time I do a podcast for a while, because the camera I'm shooting this podcast on, I just had to sell, along with a lot of my other podcast equipment that I've bought over the last 2 years when me and my son started this thing. I lost my job on the day we shut down, and I was really positive, and I believed in our country, and I knew the president was going to take care of people so that they didn't have to suffer the way that I'm going to have to suffer now. Except for the governor of the state of Ohio's office sent my full payment to my ex-wife. Not half of it, like most of my checks have always been in the state of Ohio. In fact, that's illegal in the state of Ohio. You can't do that. But for some reason, the governor or his office felt that they could override that law with this stimulus check. And for some reason, they believed that the president would rather see me suffer and be homeless, which is about to happen, probably before May, probably before I can go back to work. And I'm outraged. And I'm not just outraged for me, but I've been thinking about this for a couple days. This has had to happen to hundreds of thousands of people in this country. Anybody who's been behind on child support, they didn't get garnished. They got their entire stimulus check that they were expecting to pay their bills with taken. All the while, this whole last couple of years, I've been paying my child support out of every paycheck. Every paycheck is 50% child support. That's the way the laws are set up in Ohio. It's never 100% goes to the mother of my kids. Let me explain that I have two mothers of 5 children. My older 3 are over 18. They're married. They have their own jobs, cars. She's upper middle class. She's got a great car. Her husband's got a beautiful car. They have a beautiful home. He sent 100% of that check to her, $2,200. Meanwhile, I have 2 minor kids with their mother who didn't get 1 penny of that money from me. Not 1 penny of my stimulus went to her at all. That's unfair. If anything, she should have gotten 100% of it. Or both of them should have gotten 50-50. Or, like normal in the state of Ohio, I should have gotten the check minus the garnishment of 2 child support payments. That's how every check in the state of Ohio has always been. That's the law here. But somehow the governor's office saw fit to give my ex-wife, who doesn't even need any money, 100% of what was going to save my life. There is no future for me. There is no hope after this. That was my only hope. And I'm saying this for 2 reasons. One, it's very difficult to be harassed by child support your whole life, or my children's whole lives, and then get a slap in the face like this. That's horrifying. But what's terrifying is that I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm going to go. Probably a tent in the woods. And when that happens, I won't be able to get a job. I was homeless for 2 years before I got this apartment, and it was impossible to get a job because I didn't have proper hygiene. I didn't have clean clothes. I wasn't shaved. I was nervous because of my demeanor. And that could quite possibly happen again, probably will happen again, or I'll go to prison, because I don't have any judgments against me for my ex-wife's child support. She should have never gotten that check. I have judgments against me for the minors, for the little ones. That's what Child Support Enforcement Agency wanted me to be paying. That's what I've been paying. I've been paying them both. But I have been paying that. I've been current with it. and the governor's office sent my entire check that way. So I'm selling that camera. I'm selling this microphone, that microphone, all my musical instruments around here, my computer. I'm going to do everything I can to keep this apartment, but that was outrageous what he did, what his office did, and I hope if he ever sees this video, he doesn't blame it on Child Support Enforcement Agency, because they're not in charge. He is. And so if he passes the buck on them, then that won't fly with me. Not at all. They do ruthless things. They've taken my driver's license, which makes it next to impossible to get a job, unless it's in walking distance, and there's not a lot in walking distance around me. That made it hard for 2 years to even find a place to work. I'm facing prison or jail time. I do have visitation all the time with my kids. I spend the 50% of the money that I get, aside of my bills, I spend all of it on them. Every time I get paid. We have a good time together. We have fun. It was really a slap in the face to me, but more importantly, because this is Portage County Free World, we are a Free World podcast, not just for Portage County, that's just where we live, but for homeless people everywhere, which I'm quite certain I'm going to be again for a little while until they find me and take me to prison. I'm saying this because they are probably outraged too. They are probably extremely outraged that you take what the president intended to be for us and sought fit to give it to someone else. We know we owe child support. Everybody that owes child support knows it. So you should have garnished some child support out of it, just like every other check in the state of Ohio. This is unbelievable. But I'm believing it. It's been a couple days and I know what's ahead of me, but I had to do this podcast tonight, and I'm not exactly sure on where I'm going with it, other than to say that I'm outraged. And I hope other people out there are outraged and will voice their concerns about it, because if by any chance the president does send another stimulus check out, which he hasn't decided, he's considering it, but he hasn't decided that yet. If that happens and there's any way we can voice our opinion about what to do in your own state with your own state's laws with our child support checks. No, it wasn't a child support check. It was a paycheck for me. It was a stimulus check. She got her own stimulus check. Probably multiple stimulus checks. I don't know. But you gave her mine too. And now I can't live. I haven't eaten. I've been eating nuts and beans and rice. I drink water because I have water still running here. And I can handle living rough. But I'm going to lose my apartment. And when that happens, it is going to be a snowball effect that will end me up in prison. And there won't be a lot of options for me to not go to prison. So if there is some kind of movement we can start, if anybody's watching this that wants to help me with it, you can go to my website. It's freeworldpc.org. I don't know how much longer I'll have my computer up and running, but you can go to this YouTube page too and write comments, and I can make a petition or an argument if there are, and I believe there are, not one or two, but many other people that the governor's office did this to, and it's not right. That's not what we do in Ohio. We give the paycheck to the person who earned it first, then garnish half of it for the children, for the child support. That's all I have to say this time. I'm out.